is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. What an exciting start to the day. We have probably the most famous tree agama in the entire country of South Africa sitting here on this jackalberry waiting to welcome you all. So hop on, buckle up, everyone. It's that time of day for your live safari through the African bush. Welcome on board, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. We've came to the exact spot where we find our tree agamas. They are always here, and I think it's fascinating to view them and to learn a little bit more about these unique reptiles. My name is Lauren. I have BK on camera, and we're coming to you live from Djuma Game Reserve, but we have many other locations across Africa where we'll also be coming to you live. Now, it's a hot day. It's 27 degrees Celsius and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So normally on a hot day like this, reptiles are out. At low environmental temperatures, the metabolic rates of reptiles slow right down. They're completely depressed, whereas those of mammals and birds are generally elevated. So it's a complete opposite for reptiles versus mammals and birds. And the difference between the metabolic rates between a mammal or a bird versus a reptile can be 100 times different. The rate can be different for, well, the metabolic rate is 100 times that of a reptile for a mammal or a bird, which is incredible. So they have a completely different biology, a completely different way of surviving out here. And generally you find reptiles one group of animals, that tend not to migrate because they can't migrate. They don't have the energy to do so. Fascinating. So if you have any questions about this agama or anything you see on today's drive throughout all the different safari vehicles, please do talk to us. Send in all those lovely comments and questions. We really look forward to hearing from you.
What?
Just reminding people how to send questions. Yeah, we'll tell her, Andrew. She's speaking too fast.
Good day, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon from here at Djuma Game Reserve in Sabi Sands. Beautiful last animals around us. That's a gen of giraffe. Let's see what they do. Gen of giraffe we're talking about in Djuma Private Game Reserve in this beautiful afternoon, 27 degrees, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is usually during a day like this, especially this time of the year. So everyone, welcome to ask questions from wherever you are in the world. We're back in this live, your live, WildEarth live. Feeding this to you right now live. So for you to ask questions, hashtag WildEarth or on YouTube, Twitters, we'll be taking your questions. The giraffe can warn other animals if it's a predator around. Well, giraffe, for sure, they don't really often make sound, sure. But they can do that. How they do it? This poor animal, such a tall animals, they have a lot of advantage to see predators from far away, which what they do, if it's not open enough for them, they depend on what predators do. But if they're static predators or moving predators, they mainly move off immediately by running. But also the other animals, small animals like zebra, wildebeest, those type of other antelope, which they associate with the specific animals, with giraffe. They also follow the footstep of giraffe to get out of the way immediately. But otherwise, if that predator is static, they tend to stare at one position, keep the sight of the predators always, And then in that case, to alert the other animals, they have to move off the site, but again, back to the very same spot where they were, but continuously. So it makes, these warthogs and every other animal that they're around to be aware of. That could be something that giraffes spot. But of course, they don't actually warn by the sound. A lot of times, they do kind of a sound over a sneeze as well. Can blow the nostrils. That's a sound you can hear. They can make sound, but they don't mainly love to do that. And this is a southern giraffe species we get in these reserves, whole entire Kruger National Park. And it looks like they'll quickly disappear. There's still a little bit of a glimpse of them there. It's not that we cannot see them right now, but they're in that wood. And this is the preference habitation for them, because there are many browsers and they feed on type of thorns, bushes. For that, they don't really eat hard thorns, but these new shoots of leaves will be taken. They have a well prehensile tongue to able to allow this mouth to select what they need. We'll move on, leave this giraffe alone, check for something else.
Good afternoon and welcome to andBeyond Ngala, where we are currently in the northeastern parts of the reserve. So in front of you, you can see a Mopane tree. So we have small patches of these Mopane woodlands scattered across the reserve. Here's a nice big one there. My name is Marna, and with me behind the camera is Gert. So these Mopanes are actually quite special, and almost 48% of Kruger is actually covered in Mopane trees. Usually where they grow, they tend to take over. As you can see, there are quite a few Mopanes around here. And something that's quite special about them is that they hold on to their leaves a little bit longer than the other trees. So all the other deciduous trees in winter time, when they lose their leaves, these Mopane trees will actually hold on to their leaves for a bit longer. And the reason for that is, if you have a look at the leaf, Gert, if you want to look at this one I'm holding here. If you have a look at the leaf, so when it's really hot, what happens is this leaf will actually close and it will then lose less moisture. So it will retain the moisture, which means it will hold the leaves for a little bit longer.
Jumbo, a very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Masai Mara. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Big James. And today we want to share what is happening here in the savannah. And as you can see, I have some elephants. I have a beautiful landscape that I really want to share with you. This is the African elephant, the largest mammal we have here in the Masai Mara. Remember to talk to me on #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. After all the rains that we have received in the last week, it looks beautiful and green. What you see a long way down there is our marsh. Every time I mention the marsh, that's where I am. And you can see how many elephants we have. We're having a very good time with our elephants here. The trees you see are balanites. Yeah, that is the balanites trees. Yeah, you can see the clouds there. We have cumulus clouds, and the Olololo Syria escarpment. Do I have zebras? Yes, there are zebras. And what else? Eland. Oh, how beautiful it is. I have everything. Yeah, I have everything here. Yeah. What do you have? Yes, I have also the African largest antelope here, the eland, and they look like they have no care in the world. Look at how fast they're eating. There is a female resting, so all is well over here. It looks very green and I'm loving it. I hope you're enjoying the scenery with all our animals here. We have our common zebra, or the bushel zebra. It's the only one we find here, although there are other species dotted all over Africa. It's the only one that we find here. We do have resident ones, such that when the wildebeest migration goes back to the Serengeti, we have quite a good number of them. Yes, we'll be sharing with you the scenery again, but that is the Olololo Syria escarpment. Cleo, you asked me what animal likes eating tree. There are very many, and we call them browsers. And to start with, elephant is one of them. There is the giraffe, the eland. We have the small ones like the dik-dik. Yes, and also, bushback. All those are antelopes, and they're grazers, and they love to eat trees. We also have, our giraffe here. So I'm not in a shortage of animals where I've stopped. I can literally count about maybe about 6 species. I'm so lucky. I hope you feel the same. These giraffes are called Maasai giraffe. And surprisingly, I read something recently which actually amazed me, is that some calves can inherit their mother's pattern. I live to believe that. You can see this female, I don't know if, James, you can zoom in. There's a very nice pattern just in between where the neck catches the body. Yeah, there, look at that. Maybe I'll remember that sometime.
Come back. We have left our giraffe disappear into that tree wood area. We couldn't follow them. But this, when I was about to explain how they prefer the drainage line systems, just because of the species of the tree that they prefer in this ravine. So now we're zooming through this toxic tree out here, which if you find this tree all entire Kruger Park and many other reserves, but it's called tamboti tree, which is highly toxic to many of our humans, and some animals that are not browser can be affected when they eat these leaves, because it's got a sap like a milk, but then they will run tummy forever. Where giraffe and porcupine, black rhino have been seen feeding on these leaves of this tree, but that doesn't really harm giraffe. They're specialized feeding on the leaves of this species of the tree. Of course, it's a very good tree for furniture as well. Only that you don't have to, when the wood is dry, it comes very hard and strong. Make a lot easier for carving and make beautiful furnitures out of that. And the color of the furniture, dark, rich, dark. You don't have to treat it. Nothing will mess around with that wood. No wood borrow, nothing. So that's what giraffe love the most. Look at the background of the skies. We'll move on.
Look at these 2 beautiful female giraffes. Both of them are carrying a baby each, or you call it a calf. They carry it for a very long time, almost 14 months. And after that, they give birth standing. It is believed that the height of, a female giving birth, when the little one hits the ground, it starts breathing. But I don't think it's true. I think it's alive even when it's coming out. They usually have to stand up quite quickly. In about 15 to 30 minutes, they are already starting to wiggle and start trying to stand up, because survival is very essential. And the sooner you are on your feet in these African plains, they higher the rate of survival it is. Look at that beautiful female. Yeah, she's doing her ambling walk towards the escarpment. They have developed, security. Jane, you ask how many types of giraffe we get. I will tell you, here in Kenya, we have 3 official, different ones, but in Africa, there is more than 7. The 3 we find here in Kenya are reticulated giraffe, which is found north of equator, and it is very beautiful. It's got this chocolatey color, and it looks like somebody has painted it and divided the patches. And then there's the Rothschild giraffe, which is endangered, and it is found in confinement. It's protected, and there are not as many. If I show you in my book, James, I don't know if you'll be able to point out here, and I'll show you the reticulated. It's over here. It's a very beautiful giraffe. I don't know if you can see it over here. This is the one we find here, the reticulated giraffe. Yeah, and it is a very beautiful giraffe. It's found north of equator. This is the Maasai over here. Yeah, those are the ones we find here. And then we have the Rothschilds. Can I find it? Yeah, the Rothschild. Which one is it? It's this one here. So, we have the 3 that we find here. Those are the 3, but this one is very beautiful. It's called the Rothschild giraffe. But the one we are looking at is the Maasai giraffe. It has this pattern, looks like a jigsaw puzzle or patches. And these 2 ladies looks like they're on a mission to get away from where there's lions. They're going towards the escarpment. They have developed a security mechanism where in the evening they walk towards the human habitated area, because there is less predators there. Then early in the morning, they come down. Over here, the Maasai people have learned to live with them without touching them, because they know they get a lot of income from these beautiful creatures. Yeah. What did you see, lady? She's looking back there. Okay, I'm gonna continue on, and hopefully I'll find you something farther down.
Beautiful giraffe, zebra also been together, beautiful, that's how they do. And that forms safety number. And here we got this female, beautiful female, Nyala, spelled with an N-Y-A-L-A. So here we're looking at a bunch of female, while we're still in these drainage line systems. And this is, animal that they also prefer this area of drainage line, which provide the shadow, but also provide a lot of shoots for them during this time of the year. We just had a little bit of a spitting of a rain a few days ago, and this little green look like that's showing up there where they are. But, they are mixed feeder, not only browse or grazer, they would take both. And the reason I'm saying it's a female is because the male, they grow horn, also dark coat they got. And looking at this female, kind of a yellow but vertical stripe is there. Indeed, it's Linda. Indeed, I agree with you. Antelope like this, you can't go wrong with them. They're so beautiful. If they're your favorite, I'm also part of, I know my impala is there, but, they're so cool. Look at them, how close we get close to them. When you look at the tail, it's full of hair. Remind me of sheep type of animal out there, but of course they're not even related to sheep. It's so that these are the antelope. Yeah, it's a fluffy, very fluffy. So a male born in this color, but only change color as they grow up. And changing color takes from when the shoots of the horn showed up. This is when they're near a year old or 8 months old, and the color change from color of female to be a male. Then it shows a lot of a dark, rich, dark color. Vertical stripe is there. But you look at this antelope. It looks like, again, I'm going to say this. Boy, when I ask how far they can run. So they won't keep speed as much as impala can, but to get away from the danger they can. So anything from 60, 65 kilometers an hour. And of course, they're not well designed for such a run a long time, like this impala when they're trying to get away from their cheetah. So I'll put it around there. They're actually very good on hearing. That's what I know for sure. That's why they prefer river, which hearing for them, it's always excellent. Sense of smell, our sight. You can see how they're actually trying to select beautiful grasses, beautiful antelope. So usually when it's dry, you also find them in the very thicket, drainage line system. What they feed in there, they pick up the dry leaves which are falling out of it, down from the tree. But for that, there's a time they freeze, trying to scan around. Look at these ears, looks like a satellite. Go back, forth, down, while that animals freeze standing, just to listen for any movement. Because, predators also, they still kill animals that they think are clever, or they're always all aware all the time. But because, they're the enemy is always clever enough. And then we'll stick with these animals until see what they're doing for us. Right, looks like they kind of trying to disappear from us, but it's not that far where they are. It's because of the bushes that they're right in front of them. And if I ever... Rosalind want to know how many baby can Nyala have. So I'm not sure if she's asking in year or tween. Usually one baby at a time. But there are antelope that they can actually breed nearly twice a year, if they're nutritious for them there. Look how she does that now, looking at us. Look at these nostrils. How cute is that? Every time there's a wind, that's where they will be more curious of trying to understand what's going on around them. But with them, it's fine. If it was impala, they were trying to get out of this, because once it's a lot of wind, those type of antelope like impala, they do not feel safety in a wood. So they'll move into an open area and check for safety. But with these, this seems to be fine. Might actually have to watch this antelope when they move. They move carefully, so that they don't actually disturb a lot of, sound. There's still a few of them there.
One flat tire later, yes, BK and I did it. We are back on the road. Now we're coming down to Tswalu because it's hot today and we're just hoping that maybe something will be happening at this dam. It's the biggest sort of water body that we have in our area, in the northern sector of the Sabi Sands, and I want to see if anything exciting is going on here. We know there's dogs, we know where the dogs are, we can't traverse, but I'm hoping once the sun starts to set, we're going to manage to catch up with the dogs as well. Oh, we've got some zebra. I think they're going to go down to the dam to drink. Okay, let me get into position with my full tires. We were with the Triagama and all I could hear was, can only be one thing. Okay, there's a foal here as well. BK, let's try and get them from here. It's a bit of a long distance visual, but sometimes zebra, believe it or not, can be skittish. When they hear a vehicle, they don't like it. And it's most likely due to the fact that there's a lot of predator density here. High number of lion prides, and they probably live in a great deal of fear. You see that little foal? Wonderful, wonderful animals. Great body mass, so they really are a prey species that would be perfect for the likes of lions. It would feed a pride, all those hungry little mouths. Now, we talk about all sorts of reasons why zebras have stripes. It's one of the most popular questions when relating to the animal kingdom. And it's said to do with thermoregulation because black and white are so contrasting. They're not even said to be colours, they're said to be shade. Oh, it's drinking. There's one drinking, BK. I don't think I've seen zebra have a drink in a very long time. I know it's a bit far away in the distance, but I don't want to drive any closer. Now, the black stripes of a zebra heat up. And, of course, they absorb heat. So they are said to be anywhere between 12 to 15 degrees Celsius hotter than the white stripes because white reflects heat. And therefore, this creates a very small-scale sort of convection current between the stripes going all around the zebra's body. And it can really sort of help them with cooling down. And if you think about it, zebras will benefit from an extra cooling system because they digest food much less efficiently than other grazers. They're hindgut fermenters and they're unselective bulk feeders, which means they just eat in bulk, a bit like me. And therefore, they need to spend a lot more time out in the heat, out in the midday sun. They eat a lot more food because they need to forage all day, and therefore an additional cooling mechanism would really help zebras. So it makes sense that natural selection has pulled out a mechanism that can help them keep cool due to their diet and their lifestyle.
Yeah, here I've come across a beautiful herd of elephants, and I am hoping they're going to drink because there is plenty of water close by. And as I've been talking and saying every time, we have a nice big baby boom this year, which is really welcome. Remember to talk to me, to talk to us on hashtag WildEarth. Questions and comments are really welcome. Oh, look at that female. She lost one tusk. Yes, looks like, yeah, she lost one, but it doesn't mean she's disabled. She still got one, so she's able to dig up minerals using that and debarking certain trees. And just to give you an update about the little elephant we saw this morning with a big injury, actually, she was treated yesterday. This is the report I'm getting from the seniors of the park. She was treated yesterday, and also today after me calling them, they followed up and she is doing well. I think, and also the herd we saw after her is part of her, so I'm hoping she's caught up with everybody, and I'll keep you updated if we find out more about her. Yeah, that little guy, they can be a little bit cheeky and frisky when they're young and approached by vehicles. They feel so confident, they want to show off. Looks like those are twins, but I doubt. Yeah, everything is well here. These guys have not been hunted for many, many years. That's why we are able to get this close and leave them to do their own thing as we enjoy. And that's what we really, really, really want. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. It's one of a kind live safari that you are on. And this is a beautiful herd. There's a little, tiny little one over there. And the mom is hiding her. Tim, Jumbo, you want to know if the elephants here in the Mara eat only grass? Of course not. And not all trees are too high. Yeah, in front of those elephants, you can see those trees. They might be high, but not as high for the elephants not to reach. And also, as you can see, this elephant here is behind that bush. He's eating a little bit of the bush. So there are little shrubs close to the ground. And of course, if they want to eat a tree, elephants are big enough to knock one down. Sometimes it looks like they are destroying the environment, but it is important for them to do that because they create a niche for other small creatures to find places to hide, like scrub hares, snakes, owls, nigers. Niger is a type of night bird, and also mongooses. So they create a habitat for other animals, and not only that, they are birds that can find food on those dead logs. So, if they want to eat a tree, they can bring it down. So they don't only eat grass, but they eat even trees. Looks like they're on a mission, and I'm going to follow them so that I can see that little one really close. We can see it's a really tiny one. Very, very small. That could be only a month. Where they're headed, there is water, and I think the matriarch is taking them for a drink. Herds here, small, herds here, or a breeding herd here, consist of about, 4 or 5 fully grown females and their offspring. So in total, they can range from around 8 to 13. That is a typical small herd here in the Mara. Elephants are constantly eating, and that's what they're doing here. They spend about, 15 to 18 hours of their day just munching away, only taking a bit of time to have a rest. They need to do that because very minimal of what they eat is properly utilized. Only about 40% is utilized. Everything else might come out or comes out, the same. It also sounds like a waste, but it's also utilized by other creatures, like dung beetles. Warthogs do eat them. Also young elephants, fresh, after bath, a few months just before they start feeding on solid food, will eat their mother's dropping. It might sound like yuck, but it is important so that they can obtain microorganisms that will help them, develop a healthy digestive system. So it doesn't go to waste. Also, if it's not utilized, when it dries up, termites will eat it, and also if it's not eaten by the termites, it becomes manure. Yes, so it is used by many organisms here in the wild. Looks like they're going to cross the road over there, so I'm going to try and move forward, and also be careful I don't get stuck because it's been raining. It's been raining. There we go. No getting stuck. Yeah, I'm going to try.
Unfortunately, our zebra disappeared. They don't spend long around the water. They're highly water dependent due to their, less efficient way of digesting. They need a lot of water because they are bulk feeders and they have hindgut fermenting going on in their digestive tract. They need a lot of water, but they're mobile dependent. So it means they can move around. They're not restricted to certain water points. Now, who are restricted to certain water points are the hippos. You will find the same hippos day in and day out in the same water point. There may be movement, especially between males, young males. They may have had a dispute with the older bull, for example, and they may feel that they have to leave that water body and go in search of one of their own. We now have a hippo and treehouse dam that we didn't have before, so I think it's a young male. It's not really set up his own harem. It's not really got females around him. Many of you are saying you love Chitwa Dam. I know, me too. You can hear the starling, the pigeons, the geese were going earlier. I'll let you listen for a little while. I'm sure you can hear the starlings the most, but also the wind. The wind's picking up a bit here, which is actually good. It's good news for us, so we don't overheat here on the vehicle, and it's good news for the predators.
Good afternoon, mobile station.
We are sitting admiring the view at Chitwa Dam. It's, admiring the view and the sounds. So peaceful here. Chitwa is a neighbouring reserve to Djuma Game Reserve, south. And it's a wonderful area to traverse because of this full dam. It's almost bursting at the seams. The hippos are being very shy today. BK, we've got a little lapwing here, blacksmith lapwing just sitting on this island. I wonder if it's sitting on a nest. Let's just take a look. Pinaz, you're asking about the hippo's teeth, and we can actually call them tusks on the lower jaw. They're a hippo's secret weapon. Many people don't think that the hippos are actually dangerous, but they have enormous, powerful muzzles, and the lower canines, they can reach anywhere between 30 to 50 centimeters. So I'm not entirely sure what that is in inches, but 30 centimeters is the length of a ruler, and that's 12 inches. So 12 and above, that's very, very long. So they're modified into tusks, and they are hippos' secret weapons. They will defend themselves with these tusks. And hippos are known to even bite crocodiles in half. When crocodiles and hippos do clash, they can snap a 3-meter crocodile in half, which is incredible because of the enormous power in the jaws and the enormous weapons that they have in the form of these canines. The starlings are very active around Chitwa Dam. I wonder if that little lapwing is sitting on something. Crafty, you're asking a very good question because it's passed my mind numerous times. So I'll just give some background to Crafty's questions. The last summer that we had, we received so much water that all the dams became full to capacity. They almost burst. We didn't have any dams bursting, but almost. Now, what that has resulted in is a winter where all the dams are still full. Look at this dam. BK is going to give you a beautiful view of Chitwa Dam. It's bursting at the seams. Normally, in winter, this dam, the water levels are very, very low. This island is no longer in the water. It's actually outside of the water. That's how low the sort of volume reduces to. So, Crafty, you're asking about this summer, which has passed through my mind. If we get a lot of rainfall this summer, and who really knows what we're in store for? But if we really do get a lot of rainfall and it's a very wet summer, then we could be in trouble. The dams definitely are at risk of flooding. And I'm sure all the game reserves here have thought of this and measures will be put in place. But if we get too much water, then flooding will happen. The Mulwati will flow, the Mulwanini will flow, and it's slightly worrying. You don't want flooding to happen. Although water is very important for the environment, too much water would be very detrimental. Now, just going back to this lapwing, sorry, I think it possibly is nesting here. They do nest close to water, and they usually use little ground hollows. So even just a hoof print from an elephant or a rhino in the mud that's dried, they can even use that to nest in. And they can even sort of modify it. They can scrape it. So it may be the shape of a rhino print, but then they can modify it to however they want. And both sexes can do this. You'll find the males and females both doing this. And I wonder if this one is just resting or looking after some nests. Because they can lay eggs all year round. But the main season is anywhere between July to October for blacksmith lapwings. So I think we're looking at a nest here. How lovely. Both sexes can incubate, which is also such a lovely thing to see. The male will take his turn to incubate the eggs, and so will the female. So I'm going to sit and enjoy Chitwa Dam for a little bit longer.
Sieva. Welcome back to Ngala. We have actually just found a few blue wildebeests, and they're all lying out in the hot sun. Now, you've probably been watching hundreds and thousands of these moving through the Mara, but generally in this area we see them in herds of about 10 to 15, sometimes 20 if we're lucky. What is the hardest animal to track? I'd say it's probably something like a leopard. Chris, yeah, they are, because they're solitary. It's a lot harder than something like a pride of lions. We have a lot of tracks. They move together, and also the areas the leopards move in, it's usually quite dense, and they zigzag through the bush. So I think a leopard is one of the harder ones to track. You really have to think like an animal when you're tracking. Let's see. That is quite a beautiful shot with the three of them standing up. It is quite hot, as I mentioned, so I'm not sure why they're not moving into the shade. Being as dark as they are, they attract even more heat. But generally in this area where you find quite a few wildebeest, as well as zebras and sometimes giraffes and impalas as well. we are actually on our way to a waterhole, seeing it as it is so hot. We want to go see if there isn't anything drinking down there. Usually when it's this hot, during this time of the day, most of the creatures will still be lying down, especially the cats. So whilst we're driving through here, we're making sure that we're checking all the shady spots under the shrubs and trees. Marco, what tactics do we use to track animals? So we'll use tracks and signs that we usually pick up on the road first, and then we also use other animals. So we use alarm calls. If we're driving along the riverbed, you might hear grey go-away birds calling, or you might hear monkeys or baboons. Most of the antelopes also make an alarm call, so they make these like bark-like sounds, and so we'll use that. And the nice thing about the cats is that they often use the roads because it's just, it's the path of least resistance. They can easily walk on the road. It's nice, it's soft. They don't make a lot of noise, especially this time of year when, there's a lot of dead leaves and grass and things, a lot of dead foliage all over. So if you walk over that, it does crunch and make a lot of noise. So they tend to try and avoid that because they want to stay undetected. There's a small hornbill in the middle of this herd as well. It looks like, let's see, yeah, a yellow-billed hornbill. Just going through the wildebeest dung, probably trying to see if there are some beetles or insects there. It's actually, or maybe it's getting termites because it looks like it's picking up a lot of small insects. It's hard to see exactly what it is. As you can see, he's feeding. So in this area, we see the yellow-billed hornbill, we see red-billed hornbills, we see southern ground hornbills, which they look a lot different compared to this one, a lot bigger. And then every now and again you could see trumpeter hornbill here. So I think we're going to leave these wildebeests and start heading towards the water.
Yes, look what I just found. Some sleeping buffalo. Yes, all those are the Cape buffalo, and they're all resting after a well-earned rest from eating and walking all over. This is a very huge breeding herd. You cannot tell how many there are, but it's very, there are very many. Look at the heads. That's mostly what you can see. Not very many are active, but here and there is one standing. I think they're on shifts, taking duty to make sure no hyena lion is approaching. And very close by is their colleagues, the cattle egrets. I'm sure they are waiting, and so maybe even they are, they're asking when are these buffaloes gonna wake up, because it's a symbiosis. They depend on the buffalo sometimes to kick up some, creepy crawlies from the grass for them to feed on. So right now they're also maybe digesting what they ate this morning and waiting to get some rides on the backs of buffalo as they disturb insects from the ground. The Cape buffalo is one of our large herbivores. It's quite big, weighs up to around 950 kilos. And they don't migrate. They're very, they're resident. Here, it's a mixture of male, females, and young ones. We call it a breeding herd. This animal is rarely hunted because there is enough for the large predators. Rich, appreciate your comment. Asante sana. We say thank you in Swahili. Asante sana. Yeah, it is very, very welcome, the kind of weather and the sky There's no those grey clouds. It's just blue, and the sun is nice and hot. And I'm sure even the buffaloes are enjoying it after having almost 5 days of really cloudy, rainy weather. Look at that. Beautiful. Although those are towering cumulus clouds, so maybe in another few days we will get some rain, which we cannot complain. We always want it. Look at that. It's a really beautiful scenery. Yeah, I'm sitting here in my location, hoping to see these guys wake up as we take you to another location.
Beautiful creature. What we got right here is our dwarf mongoose. Looking at this one, looks like it's gonna walk into probably a web, spider web. This has probably happened during the forage for them, looking for a food, which they eat, mainly insect. And yeah, it is so funny, look at that. But it looks like maybe they're having a time. One of the animals, they are social, so indeed, I also laugh. But you know what happened here? It looks like whenever they get around again, I can trick it with, yeah, it is indeed, So what is probably happened is when they get around again later, this is when they're going to groom one another. This is when the rest are going to try to get hold of or clean that web out of that face. It's probably annoying him or her, I think, but it's nothing she can do. It's going to stick around there unless maybe if during the forage, some branches, get rid of it off. That would be so good. Look at these ears. They're cute little creatures. This is one of the animals that they always associate with bird, which is a dwarf the hornbill, the bird we're talking about, which I don't see any over here. But for that reason is that this one becomes visible because it's probably the one that look out for danger. When they don't have that hornbill bird, one is going to be the look out for possible eagles, any danger that will approach this scene, and they will give a vocal alarm call, and all of them will run into cover quickly. But they are day animal. See them during the day, not at night. Once it's dark, they vanish into the holes. They sleep for a day. Tomorrow they're waking up. But you see, if they have that mongoose, the hornbill, the hornbill will know exactly where they sleep last night. That bird will go back exactly to that specific mound, sit on top. Look, there's a bunch of all of them back there. Sit on top of that mound and give a call for them to get out. So this is when they will know it's sunrise. We'll leave them.
Well, our animal is not running away. We've got a water monitor lizard. There seems to be quite a few around Chitwa Dam. Of course, it's a perfect place for a water monitor lizard. But reptiles in general, I mentioned earlier, they don't really migrate due to their sort of metabolic behavior and the fact that they're ectothermic. But I guess you can include there the loggerhead turtle, or the leatherback turtle is probably the best one, that covers great distances in the ocean, and they essentially could be called migrators. But when you're talking about on land, reptiles tend to just go completely active when they don't get that energy. So hibernation is a deep state of physiological inactivity, and that's experienced by certain mammals, not all, but certain mammals in winter. It's just too cold, and all the sort of metabolism and physiological processes will slow right down. But the body temperature is still regulated. It's still maintained within mammals. But reptiles, they do go into a deep state of torpor, but it's not hibernation. Sandy, you are asking, what is the lifespan of these lizards? Ooh, I do not know. I will have to check that one for you. But generally, reptiles tend to live for quite a long time. I mean, turtles, various different sea turtles, who are also reptiles, can go for 80 years plus. So I'm really not sure about the water monitor lizards, how long they live for, but I imagine it would be quite a long time. I shall find out for you, though. Just going to turn my radio down. So yeah, reptiles that become inactive during winter, they're not hibernating. They're going into a state of estivation. And this is just prolonged torpor, and it can apply to insects, even fish, amphibians, and of course reptiles. But you use the word hibernation. It's not the... Oh. The hippos are agreeing with me there. And reptiles don't have brown fat like the mammals do to sustain them during these periods. So their metabolic rate is entirely based on temperature. And if the temperatures are just not high enough, then they are just not going to wake up. They're going to remain in this sort of state of dormancy for quite a while. So it's not just the water monitor that we have here that's a reptile. Sorry, the sun is in my eyes. We also have some terrapins. Now, I just spotted them, BK. Let me try and see if I can find them again. The terrapins go in the water and then they come back out again. But they are also reptiles. They just lead a more aquatic lifestyle rather than a terrestrial lifestyle. Can you see them, BK, or have they disappeared? Oh, I think they've disappeared. At least our monitor lizard is not going anywhere very fast. He doesn't look like he's going for a swim anytime soon, or even a hunt. He's very much enjoying the sunshine, and I'm sure loving the cool breeze that keeps passing by us every so often. Now, the reason many predators are not coming to Chitwa Dam is because it's very exposed. It's really exposed for them. They can't sort of remain hidden, and that's why we're really not seeing many predators around this dam like we used to anymore. And of course, water is everywhere. Ah, what a great and very diverse drive so far. I hope to go back and look for Tandy soon. This drive will continue for 2 hours, which is great news. And hopefully we can find our queen.
Yeah, I found more elephants, and they're very busy, still doing what they do best. Each female where I am seems to have a young one who is very, very healthy, either a male or female. This one here looks like a young male. And the birds here are really enjoying. The birds are cattle egrets. Yeah, remember this is live. It's coming from the Masai Mara. And, if you want to talk to us, you can, use the hashtag WildEarth. Questions and comments are really welcome. It is a very beautiful afternoon, as you can see. Looking at elephant skin, it's one of the thickest, very rough, about 2.5 centimeters. The thickest, of course, in the belly, around the neck, around the back, it's much thinner. Ron, did you want to know how long is an elephant tail? Well, look at that. How long is that? Is it the trunk of the young one, or... Okay, if it's the trunk, I'll give it about, 6 feet. It's quite a long one, and it can be stretched even more because it's full of muscles. Yeah, so it can be stretched even a little bit more, but it depends also on the size of the elephant. Yeah, these guys are really enjoying the grass here. It's not coarse because it's been wet, so it must be very, very yummy. You're looking at the elephant's head, you might think that it is very heavy, but no. On the inside, looking at a skull of an elephant, I wish I had one here, it is like a honeycomb. So it is not as heavy, but the cavity that protects the brain is very, very solid. So it might look like it's very heavy, but for each elephant, it's able to carry it quite easily. Behind the neck towards the shoulders, the joining part is all muscle, very, very strong muscle to be able to handle, so that it doesn't break off. So it's not as, solid as you may think. And talking, looking at the head, we might talk about, those tusks. They are, modified incisors that have grown outwards, and they're very useful, used for fighting and also for digging minerals and debarking trees that have got, when they need fiber. The other teeth are all molars, and they have about 6 sets of them, each wearing out about 6 to 17 years. So usually, when they wear out, most elephants, surprisingly, starve to death. Hence, they say that, there's an elephant grave because elephants have been found in marshes where they end up eating soft foods.
It wouldn't be a trip to Chitwa if we didn't have a look at the fish eagle. Holding on for dear life there. The wind is really starting to pick up. I can't quite see what it's holding on to. Oh, it's on the branch. There's a nest there too, but it doesn't belong to the fish eagle. It belongs to the weavers, the buffalo weavers' deed's nest. And I can't see its partner. You always see the male and female together, but I can't spot them. They normally stay in visual contact with one another. So one may be at the eastern side of the dam and one may be all the way to the western side, but they can normally see one another. They've got very accurate, keen eyesight. Which helps them make the perfect hunt, whether they're swooping down to take a bird or whether they're swooping to get a fish. They use their keen eyesight, as most raptors do, using their talons to seize. Many of you are saying it's such a beautiful bird. It really is. I don't know what it is, whether it's the contrasting colours or just that pure white head. I'm really not sure what it is, but they are absolutely stunning. The body's not black either. It's a gorgeous chestnut brown. The colours just really complement one another. Now, they're said to only forage for about 5 to 10% of their day, which is really not that much. The rest of the day, they'll just be chilling, like this one is doing right now. But although they seize with their talons, the weight that they can carry is incredible. It's been recorded that they can carry fish that are around 2 or 3 kilograms in their talons and then lift themselves up and fly. But if the fish becomes too heavy, they're not able to fly with it. They'll just drag it to the shore. And of course, the fish will suffocate when not in water. And therefore, the eagle will just wait until it dies and then feast away. But still, 2 to 3 kilograms in your talons and in flying shows you exactly how powerful they are. Which is why you always find them around Chitwa Dam. But they won't just eat fish. They have quite a broad diet. But fish makes up the bulk of it. And it is their favourite after all. Poppy, you're asking, do they only eat meat or do they eat other things too? I only know them to be carnivores. So I don't think they supplement their diet with seeds or fruits or anything like that to make them omnivorous. Their diet is really made up of fish, but then they will also eat birds. We've actually seen fish eagles. BK and I, actually, a fish eagle swoop down on a pigeon and they'll feast on reptiles and small mammals, but you won't really see them foraging as such for seeds or berries. They are carnivores. As with most of the raptors out here. They're apex predators in their own right. We tend to think when we say apex predators of just the terrestrial ones, but they're aerial ones too.
Hi. So, my plan for this afternoon, I'll be looking around for possibly wild dogs. I know they were seen not far from us, but the eastern boundary inside Torchwood, that's where they are. I know there's some few guys trying to go there and locate them, and they will give us update what they will be up to. So for time being, I'm just gonna check few roads. If we ever come across anything, then we'll share from there with you guys. But, you know, wild dogs, they are day animals, so understanding that they might have maybe been interested on hunting the whole day, move from the last spot they were this morning. But we'll hear from the guys that are heading in the directions. They'll probably tell us what's going on. Tom, it's a good question, that. So, in this area, I was been part of a northern sands here, where these packs that we have seen quite often is a pack that I normally seen. But, you know, of course, I haven't really worked in an area where it's a higher density of wild dogs. And I only remember the huge packs of dogs that I seen ever was about probably 20 in a group. That for me, I think it was ever, you know, biggest packs of dogs in that year. Since then, we've seen them, the number has probably gone down and all spread around just because of the movement they come across, also the dangerous they come across. It's come from how they hunt. When they hunt, they're always on the mission of running all the time, and they don't have a choice to look for a safety when they chase a species, and that's where a lot of time, you know, they get killed by lions. Mainly lions would be a serious merger on their lives. So now looks like it's just the two hippo that we can see from the other side. And this water, it's Beverly Souk Dam. This is where we are right now. Oh yes, the hippo. Looks like they haven't yet been interested on moving around a lot. Looks like they've been spending the whole day in here. These two. Looks like probably maybe a mother and a young one. And look at the size of the bigger one in front and the young one at the back. Well, they move a hell of a distance at night, which makes them sometimes separate, not come back to the same group as they were last night. Probably this is what happened here. I'm not sure, it could be more of them. But looks like two of them right now. Got beautiful ears as well. Eyes, looks like it's probably keeping an eye on us, that female. Probably where they are, the female should probably standing, touching the bottom. These are dangerous animals. Sabi, how old the hippo can get in a wild? So that's a good question. So always in the wild, these species of hippo, it's a hippopotamus, so it's not a pygmy hippo. As you know, there are probably two different species of hippos in the world. But these species been seen live up to about 30 years. If successfully 35, they can get up to 40 if they're healthy enough. But mainly female, they can reach to that age. Males, again, they fight for dominate a lot of times. So die of fight than a die of older age. So fighting for territory, it's a serious major for them. So gestation period for hippo, it's about 8 months. Give birth to one who will leave them, move on.
We've just spotted some male Nyalas. Sorry, the game drive video is very busy today, everyone. Apologies. And just admiring them, actually. Now, mature bulls tend to be more solitary. So when you find lots of bulls together, you can sort of guess if they're going to be younger bulls when it comes to Nyalas. And I just wanted to show you something. So here, in front of me, I have an impala horn. This is not a Nyala horn. This is from an impala, but fundamentally, it's the same thing. So what I want to show you here, this is bone, exactly the same. I'll put it down, BK. Exactly the same as the bone that we have, and it grows externally from their skeleton, so it's attached to their skull. And if you look very careful, you can see inside all the sort of complexities of the bone. And then I'm going to turn it round right here, and you are able to see this exterior. Now, this is keratin, and it's very, very strong. I'm going to try and... I can't even break it. It's layer upon layer of keratin, which is a protein in the animal kingdom that's really prevalent, and it's in our fingernails, it's in our hair. It's very, very strong. It's on a tortoisey shell, a turtle shell, horns, hooves. It's so prevalent, and it's built from layer upon layer. So what you have here is bone covered in keratin, and it's actually the keratin here that makes these ridges. And impalas, they are different from Nyalas. I'm not trying to compare the structure or the shape. I'm just trying to show you that an Nyala horn is also the same. It's made from bone and covered in layers of keratin. Each antelope species will have a different shape. So if I just show you the shape of the impala, for example, it's very obviously impala right here. If I was an impala. But I'm not. And it's ridged so that they can lock horns, because male impalas have a rutting season. It's highly competitive, and they will fight, and they'll absolutely clash horns like this. So these ridges are for them interlocking. But when it comes to Nyala, I think we've lost our subjects, BK. We had some Nyalas for you, but they have disappeared. When you look at Nyala horns, they are shaped completely differently. They're not similar in any way. And it makes them easy to identify, and you can normally age male Nyala this way, but they're very, very aggressive when it comes to fighting. They'll avoid fighting at all costs. There's not a rutting season like there is in Impala, so their horns are not ridged the same way, but when they do fight, they can actually fight to the death. They avoid this by using lateral presentation, which is a sort of visual dominance display. Look at me, I'm big, I'm better than you, don't try to compete with me. So it's almost a passive method that they'll opt for first. And if the more submissive one sort of bows out, then the bigger one will be the dominant one. But if they both are not going to bow down at all, then it will lead to fight. And they can fight to the death, which is rather sad to see in antelope. Normally when it's an equal match, this happens. But sadly, our Nyalas here did not want to play ball.
Welcome back to Ngala. We've also been driving around without much luck, and as they said we're live, we actually found a nice herd of elephants. Look at that. Oh, my screen is not working. There's actually a tiny little calf in front of this female here. It's just coming out. pH, as far as I know, we have this one we're looking at here, which is the Savannah elephant. And then there's also the forest elephant, which you find more towards the equatorial belt. And they're slightly smaller compared to these Savannah elephants. You can see there are a bunch of them in the back there. You just see there's another big one just flapping at you. She's in the shade. Just trying to cool down. There is a nice breeze coming through though. And they are actually heading in the direction of the riverbed. So I don't know, those of you that tuned in yesterday afternoon might have seen we had a massive herd of elephants drinking in the riverbed. So that's probably where these elephants are heading as well. New pose. If we take a big bull, they have to feed they have to eat about 300 kilograms of food per day, which is a lot. They have really poor digestive systems, so about 60% of what they eat goes straight through. So that's why they have to eat so much. And if you look at what they're eating, it's also not very nutritious. You can see most of the grass around us is dead. And yeah, also a few leaves here, but they do also strip the trees for the bark and dig for roots. But yeah, to sustain such a big animal, you've got to eat a lot. I'm just going to turn around. See, there are a few elephants behind us as well. I don't think we can see these anymore. There we go. That's a little better. And I don't know if you can see it on screen, but there's a tiny black bird that's just flying around between her and that calf. And you might have seen this before, but oh, there it goes. That's a fork-tailed drongo. And what they do is they follow these these larger animals when they're walking through the grass. And when an elephant, for instance, flushes up insects, that bird will dive down and catch it. See, she's got a stick there that she's stripping of the bark. And this is what they'll be doing for most of the day. Ari, I'd say much like ours, they can't really, they do feed into the night as well, and then they can't see too well, but yeah, not much better than your own vision. We can actually hear her chewing. I don't know if you can hear that at home. But as I mentioned, she's stripping the bark. So you'll see she breaks off the branch and then she tries to get to the cambium layer, which is the most nutritious part. That's what transports all the nutrients up and down. So she just strips it for that, and then she discards the rest of the branch. Notice she's got a cut in her ear there as well. What a beauty. You'll see how she uses that trunk to break off branches as well. Those trunks are incredibly useful and super dexterous. So from breaking off these large branches to picking up the smallest little seed. And you'll notice if you look at the tip of that trunk, it's almost like she has two little, let's call it fingers, to pick small things up. Watch there. Incredibly dexterous. A lot of muscles in those trunks as well. Around about 40,000 muscles. Pele, how soft are elephants' ears? I've never touched an elephant's ears, but I would think that it would be quite soft. The skin is quite thin around their ears, and then it's cartilage around, so I would think it would be quite soft. If you have a close look at those ears, you can actually see the veins and arteries running through the ears. It's really, really thin. They are disappearing behind us again. All right, I'm going to try and turn around again, see if we can get another view. They're moving quite quickly. I think like I said, I think they're heading towards the riverbed. Oh. Yeah, they're moving quite quickly. Not even stopping to feed on anything this side now. All right, I think what we'll do is we'll continue. Maybe we'll head towards the riverbed, see if they come down for a drink that side.
to Pridelands. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and well, on camera with me, like every other day, still Odie, still there, we haven't lost him yet, but we are bumbling about this afternoon, hoping to find some wildlife, which seems to be avoiding us like you cannot believe. Anyways, we're on our way towards Leopard Dam, which is a lovely watering hole, but it's been very quiet the past couple of weeks. There hasn't been much, just every now and then things are coming down to have a drink. Actually, I'll pick up the pace a bit so we actually get to the dam. It's just up ahead, and Ndlovu Dam seems to be the most popular one, so I think if we're not successful here, I might look for a big breeding herd of buffalo that have been coming down to the dam, or we'll probably see them at Ndlovu Dam a little bit later. But Leopard Dam, I think it's just up ahead. Yes, I can see the bright green boerbean tree in the distance, so we're going to head towards Leopard Dam.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a blazing hot afternoon here at Tswalu, and my name is Moritz. Behind the camera, as always, is David. Hello. We just found the large Southern Pride female. You know, that one that we found the other morning that's busy lactating, but she hasn't shown her cubs to us. She has gone through the block. As you can see, it's quite thick over here. So we're just waiting. It seems like she's stalking something. We saw some red hartebeest as we came down the hill or down the dune, which is where she seems to be moving. So we just want to see if she comes through or what the plan is before we reposition ourselves, but very exciting to see her again. Hopefully, you know, if she does make a kill, she might go and fetch her cubs and bring them to the kill, or, you know, she might even take us to the den site itself. So very exciting to see her again. It has been quite some time. Last time we saw her was Monday morning. So we've been looking for her and seeing if we can get her to show us where the den is, but she's been hiding pretty well. So hopefully today will be the day. If not, and if she goes flat and nothing happens further, we will be going back to the rest of the... Yeah, I know, guys, I'm also holding thumbs so that she can do that. But if she does go flat and she's not interested in showing us anything, we are going to be going back to the rest of the Southern Pride with the cubs, you know, the other cubs that they've got, because they were looking like they were wanting to hunt this morning already, which they didn't do. So we want to see if they don't want to, you know, give us a show. But I think for now, we are going to just make sure that this girl doesn't want to show us something truly special. And we don't want to drive just into the block because we don't know, you know, where she might pop out. And we also don't, if she is stalking indeed, we don't want to take away her chances or, you know, mess with the chances of the antelope. Us making a noise might, you know, mask her making noise, and that could cause her being able to get too close to the animals and being able to kill. So we're just going to, as soon as we see her again, and we've got an update for you, we're going to come back here and we'll show you.
Oh, I know the feeling of waiting for an animal. Nature teaches you a lot of patience. That's one thing I learned out here. You'll have days where everything's thriving, and then you'll have days when, well, nothing happens. But my plan is to go back and just have a little look around for Tandy, just because we know her cub is in the area. She left her cub here, so they have to be somewhere. And I would also like to know if she's had some food. She was very skinny this morning. She really needs a meal, and I have no doubt that she will get one. And then once it gets a little bit later, we're going to pop to the hyena den. We've already been to the hyena den, as always. It's the first place I go. Don't I, BK? He's not rolling his eyes, I promise. And it's not active. I think morning time, really early in the morning, is the window for the hyenas. But I will try once it gets a little bit cooler, and hopefully we shall see some hyena action. See how our little cubs are getting on. Now, the reason I'm driving the Mulwati is for two reasons. I want to see if we can spot our spotted eagle owls, Sepic's mom and dad, and to also see if we can spot any sign of Tandy and where she may have left her cub. It's somewhere. She really doesn't travel much with her cub, not as much as other leopardesses, and I wonder if it's just an age thing. She's getting older. She's suffered great loss. Even in this litter, the son that she has had a litter mate and she lost it. So again, I wonder if that's why she's really not traveling much with her cub, and she keeps him stashed secretly. And he's getting older. He'll want to play. He'll be inquisitive. Maybe if a squirrel comes, maybe if a mongoose comes, he'll want to pounce. Maybe a tortoise. So he definitely will not stay in the same place. So I just want to see if I can pick up on any signs of them here. It may require a bit of effort, but I think it'll be worth it. And plus, the Mowati is just a wonderful place to drive. Let's give you a river cruise. Let's show everyone how beautiful the Mowati is, Beaks. Isn't it wonderful? And last year during the summer, I touched on this earlier, due to the high sort of volume of water that we had, this was flowing. The Mowati was actually flowing, and we were not able to drive in it anymore. Can you believe that?
So we've decided to stop and look at the smaller things, because today at Pridelands we need to focus on things that cannot move so that they cannot escape me. So we thought we'd look on the tree, and what's particularly caught my attention about this tree is the beautiful flowers. And I'm sure that the other safari guides have told you loads about these trees, but it's one of my favorite times of the year when you get the lovely sort of sweet scent. And my tent is right underneath a knobthorn tree, so I constantly get that lovely smell filling my nostrils. But there they are, beautiful pinkish purple stamen. That's the part of the flower that you can see, and then of course the white bit. And I'm surprised we can't actually see any insects flying around here. I thought it would be covered in bees and all sorts of other things like Mopane bees and things like that, but none. Hey, I actually can't even hear the hum that you would normally hear from all the bees. But anyways, maybe they've been very busy. All the knobthorns at the moment have got these flowers on. Some obviously start blooming sooner than others. But it is just really, really nice to see this burst of life, because it's been, well, just shades of brown and yellow at the moment. So yeah, I wish you could all smell it. I wish I could grab a handful of those flowers and crush them in my hand. Actually, you don't even need to do that. But for you to get the scent, it's like something between I'm trying to describe this. It's very sort of very sweet smelling. A little bit like jasmine, but not quite.
So we've come down to the riverbed and we've found some elephants drinking. So if you look at the one that's on the left-hand side there's a muddy pool next to it. So we've been watching over the last day or two, we've been watching things like baboons and kudus and all kinds of animals drinking from this murky puddle of water. And you'll notice that that elephant isn't really touching that water. He's smelling, but not too interested. Look at that. Not going to drink that. So if we move over to the right, you'll notice that that large female and the two younger elephants with her, they are digging for water. So elephants have a preference for clean water. So often you'll find they come down to the riverbeds, they dig these big holes, and they find nice and clean water in there. You can see all the sand and water all over them as they've been trying to cool themselves down with that water that they've found down there. And they've been pushing each other around as well as we arrived. Each of them wanting the best hole. Sonia, when they bathe in mud, it covers the skin, so they'll, well, I guess it's almost like sunscreen for them. So they cover themselves in mud, and that protects them from the sun. I guess it also helps with parasites and things. I know rhinos and other animals like buffaloes that like to wallow in the mud and roll around in the mud. Firstly, it keeps them cool, it protects them from the sun, and it also suffocates, if there are parasites, it suffocates parasites and helps get them, or get rid of parasites. But at this moment, they're just playing in the sand, trying to get to the water down there. Watch that female digging. And yesterday we actually also went to one of these holes afterwards, and we were checking how deep that hole went. And the hole that we checked was about 1 meter deep. That little one was lying down in one of those holes. I think it's probably quite cool, the sand, because of the wet sand around it. And now he's just taking shelter in the larger elephant shade. Ron, I agree. This is really, really cute. There's a little vervet monkey on the bank. Hey, you've got it, Gert. Oh, he just went behind the bush. He's probably also thirsty. And what often happens, there he is. What often happens is when these elephants leave this spot, these big holes will still be left behind, and other animals will come down to drink as well. So they're helping out the rest of the animals as well. Look at the one in the middle. He's like on his side with his head in the hole. That is crazy. And the back legs are like stretched out as well. That is so cute. Probably got the trunk in the hole, just like a little straw, sucking the water up. Oh, there's another elephant coming down. That's what the female's looking at. Another female and a calf running down the bank. Having a look at us first. Oh, the other little one's also down. Look at that. That is adorable. Like I said, I think that sand's nice and cool. The other one's also on his knees. Still digging though. Deer watcher? It depends on the time of year. So in winter, and we're now heading towards the end of winter, then it's normally quite dry because we hadn't gotten a lot of rain. So then they'd have to dig a lot deeper. So like I mentioned, the hole that we saw yesterday was about 1 meter. There was another hole next to it that was a little bit deeper. That was almost 1.5 meters, I would say. But in summertime, there's a lot more water available, but we still see them digging every now and again. But then the holes are quite shallow, just because the water table will be a lot higher. Look at that. See the 2 new ones that also arrived. Another mother and calf. That is a very big cow in the back there. She's very large.
I don't know, come on.
This one's showing some interest in us. Oh, look at those youngsters playing there. The one's on top of the other one. Oh, geez. These females probably wish they could do the same. Not as easy for the larger elephants though. They can't just roll around and get up that easily. They've got a bit more weight to them. Okay, Mom's heading off. Now, this large female decided that playtime's over and she's heading down the riverbed, and you can see all the others following her now. There's still one that was with her. I think it's that one trying to get up. And that's usually the case. The matriarch will lead the rest of the herd, so she'll decide where they go to feed and where they'll drink, and they'll all follow her. She's the most experienced animal. This is quite a small herd though. Looks like they're all moving off. We're going to continue down the riverbed.
Beautiful. Elephants are beautiful. Yeah, what we got? Plain zebra. Virtual zebra. Looks like there's quite a number of them here. It's just so scattered all over because of a feeding situation. It's more back there, as you can see, how this stripe develop well camouflaged when they behind the bush. You can clearly see the shadow stripe in that one. You know, zebra loving the area of grazing land most. Yeah, indeed, they are beautiful animals, especially when you look at this stripe. So like I say, there are a few of them there. And it was one of the foal, the back there, one of the baby. Probably will come out soon. But, you know, they are enjoying grazing. We talk about the mane they got. Look how beautiful. And it's only half of their head and the neck coming out of behind the marula tree. But it's gorgeous mane they got right on top of their neck. But with them, with the zebra, this is what then the mane are right on their neck. You know, this is, look at these now, oxpecker that just arrived. Since that leaner parasite ticks. So that the mane on the neck, this is how we tell whether the zebra is healthy or not. But once they're not healthy, their mane falling off sideways.
All right, guys, we found her again. As you can see, she's not as interested in hunting anymore. The red hartebeest that we saw is probably at her 12 o'clock, the way she's looking right now. So she's definitely keeping her eye on it. We can't see the red hartebeest currently, but they're probably about 200-300 meters away. And I think the wind is just a bit wrong for her at the moment. So she might actually wait for them to come in towards her. But it is definitely that female that we had the other morning, the one that we're looking for to show us her cubs still. The large southern pride female, the dominant female in the pride, and the leading huntress as well. So very cool that we found her again. There is definitely some good suckling still going on. Those suckle marks on her teats are looking really good, or very well worn, if that makes sense. But yeah, it is still a little warm, so I don't think she's going to do too much now. She'll maybe just allow everyone to come towards her. It is a perfect spot behind some cover that she's got at the moment. Relaxing in her comment just now, she looks very healthy, and you're absolutely right, she does. She is having that mother's glow. She's also a very good hunter. So with that being the case, feeding for her is not a problem. Even by herself like this, she quite often hunts and is very successful at doing so herself. We actually had on, what was this now, Sunday afternoon, we had this female leaving a kill site for the rest of the pride to actually finish that off. We saw her the morning and saw that she had killed, and then that afternoon we actually backtracked her, and the rest of the pride joined with, she left the kill for them. Not that they would normally do that. I think they joined and she was just not in the mood for them anymore. But very, very good hunter, looking in very good nick at the moment. And also absolutely in her prime. This female is probably around between 6 and 8 years old, so doing very well at the moment. And I just can't wait for her to show us her little cubs. The fact that they're not in the pride yet, guys, it means that they're probably not even a month old. So, I mean, you can just imagine how cute that must be. They'll probably be as big as maybe her forearm at the moment, maybe even a little smaller. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see that. She's also just like that female cheetah that we had yesterday that doesn't want us to know where her den site is. You know, it's a mother's instinct. As soon as we start following her, if she's not desperate to get back to the cub, she'll mislead us. She'll walk in circles and then go and lie down for an hour and do all of those things. And then when we lose interest, that's when she'll go to the den again. So there's one of two things that's going to happen. We're going to either get her on the perfect day where she has to get back to the cubs and she's going to show us where that is, or she's going to show them to us when she wants to.
So we haven't actually managed to move very far. There was a boisterous young bull elephant, the one you can see on the right there, that's been running around like crazy. Every time we try to move a little bit closer, like he puts his ears out and puts his head up and he starts trumpeting and running around in the riverbed. So I don't know who upset him, but we're just going to sit here and watch them drink for a little while longer. The rest of the herd has moved on. They're already on the opposite bank. This large female still digging. And this is the little troublemaker. The one running to the left here. So these young bulls often have a lot of confidence. And they'll charge the vehicles and pretend like they're very macho. But when they're that young, you kind of just have to stand your ground. Otherwise speaking of, to the right, there's an elephant coming down, a young calf that's not very happy with us here. Kind of just came out of nowhere. Oh, watch the tail. So notice when an elephant isn't very happy, they'll put the tail out straight like that. Oh, another one running down. And ears out. Trying to make himself look big. And now everything's okay again. Made quite a big scene for nothing. Yeah, I think we're giving them a bit of a fright because where we're positioned at the moment, we've got a nice view of the ones down in the river digging, and we're a good well, we're far enough away to view them comfortably, but there are others coming down from the bank, and I think when they approach the riverbed, we kind of give them a bit of a fright down here. So that's why we got that reaction. Oh, female chasing that youngster. See the sand all along her spine there on the back. Oh, she's drinking finally. She's been digging this whole time. I'm sure that water's still quite sandy. Yeah, digging again. Trying to discard of that sandy water first. She'll keep digging.
Okay, it would seem like all interest in hunting has been lost. Like I said, guys, it is still a little warm for her to be moving, really moving and expending energy trying to get close to these animals and stalking and doing all of those things. So David and I was just discussing we might actually love and leave her and go and follow up on the rest of the pride with the cubs down there and see if they don't want to be a little bit more active. They were looking a lot more hungry this morning than this particular lady. But now you can actually see properly how those suckle marks, look at that black ring around the teat, is really well worn, I want to say. Bruised, and the hair has been worn off from the cubs drinking. We don't know how many cubs though. Could be 1, it could be 5, but typically they have between 2 and 4. So it would be interesting to see what is going to happen. But yeah, while she is looking like this, the area where we are in right now is also quite thick. So we also don't want to spoil her chances. For us to be able to get a view of her hunting and, possibly getting a confirmed kill happening, we're going to have to move around quite a bit, which, like we said earlier, is going to either be an advantage to one or the other, and we don't want to be an effect in the bush. So we're rather going to leave her and go and follow up on the others, okay?
So in Ndlovu Dam it is. I know a lot of you laugh at me for constantly returning and spending as much time as I do around this particular watering hole, but it is so productive. I cannot stress to you how we've had our best sightings just by sitting and waiting for the animals to come. But I did mention to you about the big breeding herd of buffalo that pretty much every night come and drink at this particular watering hole. Something gave them a fright and they've run away. So we're just looking at the buffalo bulls now, lagging behind the breeding herd, but they weren't here when the rest of them all stampeded off, so they've got no need to be too worried. So you can see very relaxed, heads down, and well, no, not head down, head up, just making sure there is a vervet monkey moving around. So perhaps it just saw some slight movement. For those of you that didn't think buffalo have very long tongues, they do indeed. And if you watch them feed, especially in the summer months when the grass is nice and tall and nice and green, you'll watch them loop it around and pull it straight back into their mouths. But their breeding herd is actually just behind the dam wall, so I wonder if they're going to be encouraged by these males and hopefully will come back in, because it is quite a sight. As there's so many of them, they almost fill the entire dam. Mary Jane, I completely agree with you. It is really awesome to just sit and watch. I'm going to comment more on that now, but those two buffalo on the right-hand side, can you hear them? Let me see. You might have heard some moaning there. One was getting a bit frisky and the other fellow was not really tolerating it and was stabbing him with the horns. Sorry. It kind of sounded like... Look at him, he's going to cause trouble with everyone. This is a very social butterfly. Not a social... I suppose he could be a social butterfly, hey, that's saying. Social buffalo is what I was trying to say. But anyways, I'll quickly just talk about how I've really learnt by being at Pridelands how important it is to just sit and wait. I've been very fortunate to be in areas that are unbelievably productive, and you literally just drive around a bush and there's something laying about. But with it being so dry and with there being so few watering holes in this area, and Ndlovu Dam being the most popular, well, the animals seem to be favouring it by far, even in comparison to Leopard Dam, which we passed. There was a hole of one Egyptian goose there. We've had herd after herd of buffalo come through and elephants coming to drink and swim and wallow. We've even had a lioness pop her head over the dam wall quite a few times. Leopards have been here. And then the other really cool thing is seeing the smaller things, like the duiker and the kudu, these animals that are normally quite nervous. So, you know, the buffalo are normally quite relaxed with the sounds of the vehicle. As you can see, he's carrying on and flicking mud a fair amount. Is that tungsten? He's got a short tail. It might be my favourite buffalo. Yeah, it is. He's got his little tongue sticking out, just poking out today, having a nice roll. But it's been really great to just sit and watch unusual animals that you wouldn't be able to see, and that normally when they see the vehicle, they dart away. Oh, you look lovely now. You're shining. Look at all those insects as well. Oh, that would have been great in slow motion. Is your tongue working today? It's so strange. Look at him. Look how excited he is. Carla, you know, we're kind of in a bit of a drainage line at the moment, so water would have naturally occurred here. However, it has been over the years, not with eco training. This was done many years ago. They deepened it, so they would have got bulldozers and things in and dug this out a bit more, and they've put a bit of a dam wall that you can see that holds water, but we don't pump any water into this dam. So this is all from the rainfall that we got in February, March at the beginning of the year. But from where those buffalo are, all the way to the left is the inflow of the dam, and there is quite a big drainage line. There's even some lovely river sand, so you can kind of see there's just some monkeys playing around there. And when we do get big rain, which I'm hoping that we're going to get this year, the water funnels through like you cannot believe and fills this dam. So occasionally we have to be careful that the camp doesn't actually go underwater. There are the vervet monkeys having a drink too. Again, sometimes you just get quick glimpses of vervet monkeys, as unfortunately them and the baboons don't have the greatest relationship with humans. We haven't worked out how to live, you know, in harmony with one another. But here, we're so fortunate. We don't leave any rubbish or anything lying around. So they live around the camp, but they very rarely want to raid the kitchen. And that's normally the biggest problem in lodges, is these monkeys become very naughty, and no one wants to have anything to do with them. But luckily for us, we get these great sightings. Mom and a youngster. There's quite a few of them. It's a very small troop as well, that they roost up in the big, what's this tree called again? Sorry, the bourbeen above camp. Here's some more monkeys. And yeah, you get to watch them. Again, I really love this camp for budding safari guides, because and I say it all the time, but I can't stress to you enough how important it is to, as a guide or someone that is keen on nature, to sit and watch. Because you can go on a safari, but it's another thing actually seeing things for yourself and trying to work them out. Like, why did that animal do that? Oh, that's what they meant when I read this in a book. Those kinds of things. I mean, well, that's what I do anyways. So you can't see all the behaviors of different animals, but obviously people put what they've observed down onto paper for others to read. So it is really awesome to sit here and to see monkeys, to see buffalo, elephants, and of course, occasionally the odd predator.
So we decided that this scene was just too beautiful to leave. So we just repositioned ourselves. And I just saw that those vervet monkeys that we were watching earlier, that were playing around on the bank behind the elephants, they're actually coming down to that first hole that they were digging. And that's why these elephants turned around. So they're looking at the monkeys heading down to the water as well. I'm actually surprised that that one that was running around earlier is not chasing the monkeys. Oh, they're quite hard to see. Oh, there's one going down. Just watching them. So normally around a water hole, I mean, these are just puddles really, and holes that the elephants have dug, but smaller animals will make way for larger animals. So the elephant's king around water. But they're watching the monkeys very closely. Those two calves standing side by side. Oh, and there's the monkey behind them. Oh, they're approaching the monkeys actually. Jane, when a female's giving birth, the rest of the herd generally they'll be very protective. So they'll surround the female while she's giving birth. Normally on the lookout for predators and scavengers. And yeah, they'll chase away anything that approaches them. Just trying to protect her and the calf. Very family orientated, so they'll help each other, which is quite a special thing. It's not something you see very often. So if you do get to see something like that in the wild, you can consider yourself very, very lucky. And she's still digging. The ones in the back there, it seems like they want to head up that steep bank there. That's definitely not the easiest way to get onto that bank, but they're looking up. No, I think they're just digging close to the side there. Michael, what exactly is a matriarch? So the matriarch is the leader of the group or of the herd. So they'll say if it's a male that dominates the herd, they'll say a patriarch. So a matriarch's a female leader, I guess you could say. So with elephants, normally if you find a herd like this, it would be led by a matriarch or the oldest, most experienced female. Because the bulls will actually, they kick them out when they're around 12, 13 years old. That's when they reach puberty. And then they'll form little bachelor herds or they'll go off by themselves, usually still following these large breeding herds, but the females shoo them. They chase them away. Hear them communicating as well. Nice rumble. Oi, those on the left, they're also still playing in the sand. It's really nice to sit and watch elephants when they're so playful. They look so happy. This large female that's still digging, she keeps chasing the calf away that wants to drink with her. Oh, look at them. Having such a good time. Hey? So elephants make quite a lot of different noises and sounds. So you heard that. She was just trying to shun the youngster that was trying to drink next to her, chasing it away. So they trumpet. They'll make these low frequency rumbles. And we can actually only hear a third of all these sounds that they make. Most of them are too low for us to hear. All huddling together now. It's really cooling down nicely as the sun's setting behind us. And actually, there are a few clouds in front of the sun. I was like, might be a little bit too early for sunset.
As I said, we're not leaving in Ndlovu Dam unless I hear a leopard sawing or a lion roar. Those will be the only two exceptions for us moving this afternoon. But the light has just changed and it is gorgeous, especially when you get to watch buffalo that are normally painted with being very grumpy animals. But today they are happy. They almost look excited, and instead of being painted with a frown, they're covering themselves in mud. Hello, boys. Those midges and flies must be horrific. Can you imagine being completely surrounded by insects like that? That'd be terrible. Maybe the Aussies will know. I suppose that's why they wear hats with corks. Just joking. But yes, that must be very frustrating. So you can imagine that they need to cover themselves in mud, because I think a few of you are obviously thinking that's disgusting and that's so dirty. Why would you cover yourself like that? But it's very important for sun's protection, and then of course it creates a nice thick layer, and not only will it help keep them nice and cool, but it will, I suppose, stop a bit of an irritation from all those insects. I would not be saying very nice things if that was me. I would also definitely roll around in the mud. I know many years ago, one of the safari guides at Djuma ended up rolling around in the mud, showing us how a buffalo wallows, because there were no buffalo to wallow, which I thought was very funny. Very funny indeed. But look how healthy they are. I say this every single time because I genuinely am surprised. After working in the Lowveld for a few years and unfortunately arriving during the peak of the drought, well, just as the drought was starting, it was so devastating to see how they deteriorated, and they were some of the first animals to really suffer. But they're so round, they're so plump, so it must mean that they don't have too many internal parasites, which is good, because a good sign of that, a physical indication, hello tungsten, would be weight loss, would maybe even be hair loss, although as well, when these buffalo start to get older, their hair does sort of wither away. And I'm sure they've got lots of lice and fleas and ticks and all sorts of other things on them as well. You see, that is tungsten. He can't put his tongue in completely, but I love that it just wiggles every now and then. But it's not hanging out so much. I really have absolutely no idea why this has happened. I wonder if he's maybe lost all his teeth, if he's, I don't know, got some nerve damage to his tongue. I haven't a clue. I think your guesses are as good as mine. Maybe there is a vet out there that is watching this afternoon. Please, pretty please, we would like your input, because I am by no means a vet. Hashtag WildEarth. Let us know your thoughts. Why does this buffalo's tongue hang outside its mouth? Today is not a great example, but normally it hangs a fair amount. Like I would say about 10 centimeters of its tongue is normally sticking out. But he uses it, because we just watched him lick his nose a few minutes ago. Well, in the previous time you saw us. Shame. He's a lovely boy. Now all we need is my favorite big cat to move back onto Pridelands. I'd like to see a whole pride of lions. And they do eat buffalo here. They really do eat buffalo too. I don't know why they haven't cottoned on that the herd that is lingering in this area is here. I'm sure there's more herds of buffalo around, but I think that's also why these few, okay, obviously we're just looking at the Duggar boys and we know that they're not going to move too far. And they just stick together. There's about 7 of them, sometimes 8. And then, of course, the breeding herd is the ones that I'm really talking about. But they must feel super safe here. I mean, we've had lion tracks the other morning going straight in their direction, but I didn't count if there was one missing. Lisa, you said you agree with maybe nerve damage. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Really, really. Could maybe it ate a poisonous plant and has had some trouble since then. Honestly, who knows? But it's just fascinating. And I do like to see how resilient these animals are. I mean, that's not a huge disability. He's got a bit of a stumpy tail, so a bit frustrated. And then, of course, Sally Sarcastic, sitting in the final control studio, has said, and I don't know why I didn't think of this, is that the cat got his tongue. And the crowd goes wild. No, I bet you're all sitting there raising your eyebrow. I didn't say that, but it was quite, I wish I'd said it. Thank you very much, Kirsten. But yes, very interesting animals. I don't know. They're not my favorite. She won on their own. They terrify me and they try to murder me. But it's been really, really nice to see the buffalo back after they haven't been here for quite some time.
Buffalo healthy, which is good. And yeah, we got this cat's favorite, which is buffaloes most, especially when they work in a pride. Now we came back to the very same position as we were this morning, and our flat cat still lying down there. What I see looks like the baby's probably drinking. So I give a lot of space, so I'm a little far from them, so that they'll feel comfortable. So she hasn't make a lot of movement, only changed the last position we left her this morning. But it's not far, probably 40 meters, 45 meters from there. And she went again, lay down. She probably just followed the shadow all day long. And not far from where we just left the zebra, so you never know, later on probably get a dinner. It was a foal back there, the young zebra. And what I found out what these lionesses done is that went feed on Hukumura's kill. That's what I've found out. That's why the Hukumura is no longer being there where he was yesterday. But I don't know, because the meat was up in a tree. Of course, these cats can climb a tree for sure. Unless if maybe hyena or leopard drop it and a hyena. There was a lot of fight until she knew that, okay, there's a fight, hyena's there, the meat is on the ground. This cat will eventually win both leopard and a hyena at the same time if it was at that case then. So probably during the dark, probably move where she was highly mobile this morning. When we followed her, she found out herself into this thicket because it was getting slightly warm. And she called it a day around here. But first thing for sure, she probably want to be drink. She want to go drink. There's a water hole not far from here.
All right, guys, so we've just arrived at the rest of the pride. You know, the 3 sub-adults and then the mom or the young female with the 3 cubs. And it would seem like we just got here in time. You can see they're getting up. Now, okay, they might just be moving positions, but where they were was quite some good shade. So it would seem like they might be getting ready to move. And that is awesome news for us, you know. Oh, there's a big yawn. See that one also now getting up. These three that we saw just now are the 3 sub-adults. They're about 2 years old now. And it looks like they might be moving to... We saw the female with the cubs are just in front of us in the shade of another tree. So it looks like they might be just moving there. Or they're going to start looking to hunt into the wind. Not that lions use the wind that much. You'll find that they do, the ones that use the wind the most often is the cheetahs, but definitely looking to get active. And as I said this morning, we had them very intently looking at some oryx, and there was a giraffe that came by, but I think they're a little out of their depth with that and so on. So good that we got here just before they started moving, and it's going to be an exciting afternoon, I think. Especially with those 3 youngsters, you know, that we might have a couple of attempts and misses and so on because they're still learning the ropes as far as hunting is. So Chris just had a question. What is the biggest thing I've seen them hunt at Tswalu? Chris, I've seen them going for, you know, young giraffe and so on, not being successful. The biggest kill that I've seen, though, is big male eland. So those ones that we saw this morning. Now, to give you an idea, if you haven't seen an eland and if you didn't join us this morning, an eland gets, so we've got the Cape eland over here. They get bigger than a buffalo. So huge. I mean, they weigh 950 kilograms. Some of them are even more than that. And big dagger-like horns. So quite a formidable enemy or prey species. But yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've seen them hunting and then killing here at Tswalu. So yeah, but guys, we're going to reposition a little bit. So just bear with me. I'm going to start the car and see where we are going with these 3. And possibly check in on the female with the cubs. So yeah, exciting afternoon lying ahead.
Beautiful from lions, you know, moving. And this female lioness, she eventually stood up and moved off from the last position where she was just lying down with the baby. She came out in this open area. And I believe she might want to move on. But it's cooling off already, so it's not much that warm. Yeah, how beautiful is this cat. She's cleaning herself, licking her. Look, you can see actually how the tongue works. Getting between these, you see this claw, hey? Can you guys see them? Are very sharpened. So the tongue itself, it's very rough. When she does that, we're able to get the tick out of the way just by licking. Sometimes can separate the meat from the bone by just licking, because the tongue is actually designed for that. Monique in London, what happened to the bride? It's a good question. I'm not sure what happened to the bride. This bride, I know for a long time for sure by the name of a Shimongwe bride, but they occurred up in the west. I believe that's where she come from. Oh, that smell looks like she's defecating. The whole smell coming towards us, guys. But we can handle that. Try handle this. So Theo, I think you're also okay there. So, I mean, I'm not sure what happened to the whole entire bride. It happens that maybe she gets separated, but she's been seen, what I heard from the guys, around there for probably 4 days now, or week. So, could be that maybe she hasn't returned back to that area where she last left them. And we'll stick with this cat, see how she reacts for us.
All right, guys, as you can see, the sub-adults now just moved around. We've got a little cub over there that's definitely seen Lion King, and he's got his own pride rock, so to speak. But yeah, the cubs are getting active. They're waking up. They're starting to irritate everyone, and with that being the case, you're going to actually get the adults to, or the larger individuals to get active a little sooner. There was one cub just here close to us now that actually got a little curious just as we moved around, and he came to have a look at what we are. But yeah, they're just getting cuter and cuter by the day. I love that playing over there. They're by the rock. Look at that. Yeah, no, guys, these cubs are incredibly cute, and that pose on the rock was just the best. I mean, but these guys can just breathe and they'll be cute as well. See, now he's going back. Maybe the sun is a little bit warm for him at the moment. Gonna join the others just now. But that rock is definitely the main. The Stuck in Bed just had a question. How old are these cubs? Guys, these cubs are about 4 months old, that we know of. You know, it's always difficult to say it exact, to the day, because when they get born and their mom hide them for that first almost a month, you never know whether she's hiding them for a month or 5 weeks or 3 weeks even. But we, on average, judging by their size and judging by how long we've been seeing them now and so on, we suspect that they're about 4 months old. So absolute winter babies. But very happy to have them here. Look at how, I don't know if you guys saw how he was playing with the tail there at the back. Lots of cuddling going on here now. This is just cute. I'm loving how these sub-adults, because that one that's getting harassed at the moment by all three, or now just the one, that's a youngster still, one of the young females. It's not the mom. And I love how tolerant they are of the cubs. There's quite a lot of, here and there you see a little bit of bullying coming. Mina Lou just had a question. At what age do sub-adults start hunting? And it depends on the gender. So the females typically start joining the other females in the hunts a little sooner, probably at around 18 months, maybe up to about 20 months. That you'll find them, actively shadowing the hunt and starting to stalk, and probably messing up more hunts than they actually help with. The young males, however, they are lazy. They'll wait until about 2 years before they start trying to learn how to hunt. But again, guys, this is now absolutely dependent on each individual. So some males might start learning or start joining on hunts a little earlier. Some might start joining a little later. Same with the females. But as far as learning how to hunt is concerned, these little ones are already learning to hunt. Them playing and, stalking each other and doing all of those things, that's all practice for one day when they have to do the hunt themselves. Learning their motor skills and, their hand-eye coordination and all of those things. That's why they need to do these things. That's why they are so playful. Without even realizing it, they're learning how to do the hunt themselves. But joining on the hunts, I'd say the females typically around 18 months to 2 years when they'll start joining, not necessarily completing hunts yet. And then the males about 2 to 2.5 years is when they'll start joining. But then again, guys, as soon as the young boys learn how to hunt, they're actually quite an asset to the team, because they bring a little extra power to the team, which the females normally don't have. So then they can actually focus on things like eland and giraffe and buffalo and those types of things. Not that I'm saying they can't do it without them, but it's definitely a big help to have those young boys helping with the hunt, just to anchor the the animal sometimes so that it doesn't get to run away, because they're a little heavier and a little stronger. Females definitely better hunters though. The mom has decided now it's time to start going, I think. This light is just beautiful. You can hear her calling also the little ones. Telling them it's time to move now. Ah, this is stunning. And the wind is perfect for them now if they want to start hunting. It's blowing straight into their faces as they're moving right now. So this is gonna... Yeah, I know, guys. I mean, I'm super, super happy. Those little birds that you can hear flying past, those are the sociable weavers. They're quite vocal. Very, very small, though. But you can definitely hear the mom now. Contact calling. Either to her cubs, I don't speak Lion, so it's difficult to know who she's talking to. But she's calling either her cubs to come and join them so that they can start moving, or she's telling the others, you know what, we're going to start moving now. No, I think it's for the cubs that she's talking. Yeah, such a queen. See how those other three, but specifically the one to the right hand and then back left, are pushing their noses into the wind. They're smelling something.
It's taken me a while, but I got there. Woo, BK, smell that. My goodness, I think it's the Pungwe pack. Yes, it is indeed the Pungwe pack. And they're getting ready to hunt. It's the perfect time of day. We're on Chitwa now. They've came south from Torchwood. And everybody knows what's around Chitwa. Lots and lots of delicious antelope. I think these guys are going to hunt. They're listening. See, this one here has a funny mouth. Oh. It took me a while. I've been up and down and round again, but we got them.
Congratulations with the Mopane group.
Okay. We're going to keep up with them, BK, just because once dogs start, it's not easy. Oh, there's one to the side. I need to be careful. There's a lot of impala and come that way, and I was a little bit nervous because there's a little zebra foal that we showed you earlier. They've came to Chitwa, but I really think we're going to have a hunt on our hands. This is the perfect time, the perfect temperatures, the perfect light. Aren't they just gorgeous? Oh, they're moving. Once one moves, contagious behavior. Oh, okay, you ready? Yeah, they're running fast. I think they've spotted. They're chasing something.
Back with the Lioness. Now looks like that baby joined and now is drinking the milk from their mother, which is very good. But yeah, we haven't changed it ourselves. We haven't repositioned since we're still getting that smell from her poop. It's quite an experience, how smell it is. But, she just take it easy. So she went from there we're just going to stick with her for a little while here again. Cool, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So good that we have very stationary Lioness still here. And can't believe how, peaceful she is. Well, wherever the rest of the pride are right now, they're probably even worried about her, I think. Because in the pride, it's just how it works. Sometimes they lost each other during action of a hunt. Or what I see here, this baby still underage. Still with her, just gonna wait here. So beautiful to see how the baby's now enjoying the milk of this one. So yeah, we're on that topic of wherever the brides are now, probably still worrying about where she is. And she's safe with her baby. See how the baby's now even closing her eyes. Actually, that baby's also a young one, young female. It's gonna be good. But if the bride, they're not around, then not exist anymore, it's gonna be a little tough for her to get to feed, because it doesn't work for lions, especially single lioness hunting on her own. Doesn't work. Always, she will try her best. Especially, this baby's already eating meat. Not only drinking milk only. And let's wait here, see what happened. Finally.
We're driving alongside them. They're in full hunting mode. They're hungry. We're obviously keeping our distance. They're behind the lodge now. The sun is setting. And unfortunately, the next antelope that they see is probably not going to make it through the night. We're coming up to the airstrip. We'll just give you a stationary view for a while. It's amazing. They're just so active at sunrise and sunset, and the rest of the time these dogs sleep. They've left their puppies behind. The puppies are in Torchwood. It's just the adults that are out in full force. They chose the wrong direction. All the antelope are on cheetah cut line, guys. Damien, not at all. They're so different. Lions hunt by stalking, ambush, relying on that element of surprise. Oh my goodness, look how fast this one's running. I think they've caught something. Damien, I'm going to answer your question in just a moment. I'm going to focus on not throwing BK off the back of the vehicle. But it's completely different. Wild dogs hunt. Oh, they're going for an Nyala. Oh my goodness, a male Nyala. Oh my God, they're all going. So what they're doing right now, Damien, is hunting by coursing. And what this means is run, outrun your prey, exhaust it, try and nibble it, disembowel it. There's no stalking, there's no ambush, it's go, go, go. Similar to hyenas when they hunt, they're all coming. This is incredible. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for this one to come. I can't separate the group. So it's completely different tactics from lion and leopards. Wow, wow, wow. They didn't get the Nyala that I know of. Now, we are in an area behind the lodge, I'm afraid, so it's not going to look very aesthetically pleasing. I do apologise. But we are allowed to drive here, and, well, we don't want to lose the dogs. Now they're running. I can see white tails going everywhere. I've came the wrong way. My heart's racing too, everyone. I knew they were going to hunt. It's hunting time. They've cut over. We're going to go this way. Do you know what they're doing? They're taking us right back to the dam. We've done a massive circle. Let's see if we can catch up with them. But the only thing they do have in common with lions, Damien, is it's cooperative. So prides are obviously, they hunt together. They're very cooperative. And packs hunt together. That's a similarity. But the actual hunting technique is completely different. I think they've gone back to the dam. BK, if you see them, let me know. Yep, they're on the dam wall. I wonder where they chased that Nyala to. I have no idea. I'm just going to go up a little bit. Wow. Look at these doggies. Oh my goodness, I've never seen anything like this. They've just chased something into the water. Oh my goodness, this is like the Masai Mara, but in Chitwa, there's a dog waiting on the side, BK. This is a female though. I think this could be a kudu. Oh my goodness. This is the alpha. Oh my goodness, there's crocodiles in here, everyone. There's hippos, all sorts. The dogs are waiting. I have never had a sighting like this that involves an antelope going into the water chased by the dogs. It's swimming though, it's swimming. It's possibly even using its long legs. There's hyenas, 2 hyenas have joined the scene. Who goodness knows who they are at this very moment. We'll give you a brief glimpse and then I'm going to go forward to see the fate of this. The antelope's out, it's running, the dog's gone. They're going to come, they're all going to come towards us. The antelope's out. They're going to run right past the car. They're all in a perfect line in front of me. I've got 6 in front of me. You see this one here? This one approaching, it's got a funny little thing missing out his lip. Everyone's so amazed. I'm also shocked. I really can't believe it. The antelope got out. I think it was a kudu. I just don't know if the alpha got... Okay, we're going to go forward, BK. We can't go this way. Possibly it was an Nyala, I really don't know. The hippos are alert, everybody's on full alert. Hyenas, okay. Now the dog's running right round to the other side of the dam. Let's see what's happening. Oh, perfect positioning, Lauren, well done. Now while you watch the dog, I'm going to try and see if I can identify these hyenas. Oh, we've got Swazi. Hello, Swazi. I have your paw around my neck. Not your actual paw, but an imprint. These 2 hyenas were the ones we saw this morning. Kirsten's asking, am I sure it got out? I'm pretty sure I saw it get out, but it could have also just been another one running away. There's too much action. I really... What are they? They're watching something though, you're right. They've made such a challenging hunt here. BK, you can't see that in Nyala, can you? Okay, let me get my binos out. Christian thinks it's in the water. Oh. Okay, let's move forward. We've got the hyena running at full speed. Swazi's running at top speed on the other side of the dam. If you think hyenas can't run fast, I can assure you they can. Okay, let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. It's very far away, so bear with me. I really don't see any antelope still in the water, but I don't know what the dogs are watching. They're definitely waiting on something. There's a crocodile coming. I can see a crocodile coming towards the dogs. This is one of the most incredible, intense sightings I've ever had. I saw an antelope run, but whether it's the same one that was in the water, I don't know. It was behind the vegetation. But did you see the crocodile, Beaky, right there, making its way slowly towards the dogs? We've came this far. Oh, Beaky, over here there's an antelope in the water. I've just spotted it through my binos. It's a youngster right here on the other side of the dam. Hold on. Yep, right behind this hippo that you were on, to the right. Yes, there you go. A young Nyala. I think this was the one, but the dogs are far. Oh, come on, little Nyala, you can get out. Look at all the water buck standing watching. You see them all? Everyone's on guard. Everyone is on guard. It's a young female. Why are you still in the water? It's probably exhausted, to be honest. Really exhausted from that swim. Defeated all odds. The dogs are running back round. I think they're going to come all the way round again. It's a large area to cross. The antelope's out, standing up. The Nyala's out. Yep, the Nyala's out. Probably absolutely exhausted. Legs will be tired, muscles will be tired. But at least it's out the water. The crocodiles are moving on in. Wow. Okay, the dogs, they know exactly that Nyala's on the other side. There just happens to be a huge body of water in between them. I'm just worried the dogs come running around. They've got the endurance, the Nyala does not. That little one will get exhausted very quickly. All the waterbuck are watching, frozen in time. There's young waterbucks as well. All of you are saying, wow, yes, wow. Even BK is saying, wow, that was unexpected. BK and I were getting rather frustrated. We could not find the dogs. We could not find what we were looking for, and we were both frustrated. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, here you have it. The dogs have caused such a scene that all the antelopes in the area now are alert. So that puts them at a disadvantage. All the waterbuck, everybody knows the dogs are here. HD, the hippos could easily chase the dogs away, but they're not really a threat at the minute. They're sort of hanging around the water edge, the shoreline, if you like. But if a hippo doesn't like terrestrial mammals sort of encroaching on their territory, and what they do tend to do is get a little bit annoyed and yawn, and they can come charging out. But the hippo's quite far from the dogs right now. Sometimes even if a human on foot goes too close to the water's edge, the hippos will get rather annoyed. I just don't know what the dogs are going to do. Now, I can't see that in Nyala anymore. I'm looking through my binos. It must have ran. That's the only explanation I can think of. What a success story for that little Nyala. We were just talking about Nyalas earlier as well. Yes, Kirsten's saying she's glad the crocodile didn't get it. I know, me too. That would have been very sad. It made it. The crocodile obviously was not paying enough attention whatsoever. The dogs will be hungry though. There's no impala in sight. Someone has to take lead in this pack and make a decision. But doesn't that show a high level of intelligence? They knew to run around to the dam. They knew where to go. But the Nyala made it out of the other side. Wow. The geese are now chiming in. Okay, the dogs are on the move again. I wonder if they're going to come this way. I wonder if they'll come over for the water buck. There's a lot of youngsters. They're all watching, every single one of them are watching the dogs. Apart from the male, he's grazing. Wild dogs have an 80% hunting success rate, which is very, very high, especially compared to lions and leopards, even cheetah. But that was obviously one that fell in the 20%. Now they've gone right behind the vehicle, I'm afraid, but what I'm just going to do is turn a little bit so I can see which direction they're going without going off the damn wall. Oh my goodness, they're going in the other direction. Okay, I'm going to try and do a big U-turn on this very narrow damn wall. Let's see how it goes. Okay, I'm going to try and keep up with these dogs and see if they catch anything.
So alrighty guys, the females actually left the cubs now there by where we found them. You can see they've definitely gone into a hunting mode. There's a second female that's also off to the, well, in front of that one already. But it looks like they've spotted something. We thought it was some gemsbok, but they seem to be looking in a bit of a different direction from where the gemsbok were. But absolutely gone into hunting mode. You can see there's that one also now looking around. So the direction which she was looking in, there's actually another female just here off to our right, which we didn't see sneaking up on us, by the way. But luckily they're not interested in us. I do think they might have spotted the gemsbok, and they are busy devising a plan as to how they're going to go about it. It's about, from where they are now, those gemsbok are probably around 300 to 400 meters straight ahead of them. Not like she's walking now. Oh, well, no, maybe like she is walking now. Maybe, yeah, just like that direction that she's looking in at the moment. We've got one little problem. There's a giraffe very close to where the Gemsbok is. So having that watchtower scan for danger constantly is maybe not the best thing. It looks like the giraffe is moving off though. So that'll play in their favor. The wind is also in their favor. The cover of darkness will be here soon. So they might even just wait for it to get a little darker before they start making their approach. Yeah, guys, I mean, this lighting there, there's a reason why they call it golden hour, you know. It is absolutely the best time for being out in the bush and for, you know, for photography and for anything like that. Just beautiful, beautiful on these lines. I mean, look at those mountains even. If you have to take that line out, I'd still be happy with that view. Lion makes it better though, I'm not gonna lie. But the light is just epic at the moment. It would seem like they might have changed their plan, or her plan at least. She's walking in a strange direction at the moment. Yeah, guys, there's a possibility of them going for that giraffe. It is, however, a big male giraffe, so I doubt it. There you can see him. Big boy. I don't think these three, if they were on full strength, you know, all three adult females with the three sub-adult females and possibly the two sub-adult youngsters, young males that they had, then maybe they could have done something about it. But I don't think they're gonna try something like this. Not with the three inexperienced females that's in the pride at the moment. He's gonna be a little bit too much to bite off. Look at that. Just stunning. You can see also all the, spoke about it a while ago, but all these little trees that look light in color at the moment. See here in front on the screen as well. You can just see all of the blackthorn acacias really being in full flower at the moment. Almost looks like it's been covered in snow. Beautiful, beautiful time of the year to be out here. Yeah, guys, what I think we're going to do is we're going to reposition a bit. I can't see any lions anymore. So I think we're going to just move the vehicle a little bit and see if we can find them. Well, I mean, they're not too far away, but see if we can follow them and see if there's not something that comes up.
As you can see, we've come across some beautiful white rhino here at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. My name is Kim, and behind the camera is Craig there, and we are your guides at Phinda for the evening. We've actually been looking for cheetah the entire afternoon, and they have given us a complete run around. We have not managed to find those two male cheetah that you were looking for earlier. I think maybe they've gone back to where they spend most of the time, far more north in the reserve. But we have come across this incredible sighting right by a little bit of water out in front of them, and this is a mother and a young calf. Now the other day we had quite a small little calf, and we aged it at about 3 to 4 months. And I don't know if you can see that little one's just poking its head behind the mother. It's actually walking to the perfect position. You can see how tall it is compared to her rear leg. Now, it's just a little bit shorter than the hip bone. So that is, when it's about the hip bone size, it's about 1 year old. So this is a little bit younger. I'd age it at probably 6 to 8 months, somewhere around there. And we are going to sit with these rhino and just see where this pans out and enjoy the rest of the evening. Yeah, I agree with all the viewers that say this baby rhino is incredibly cute. In fact, the young rhino, one of the most entertaining young animals. You know, all young animals are quite special to watch, but especially young rhino, because they are very, very curious little animals. You can actually see how its ears are moving. It's picked that behavior up from the mother. They do tend to start watching and mimicking their mothers from quite young. You can see straight away. Again, the mother lifts up her head and the calf knows straight away. Time to have a look around and check. Sorry, I just missed that last comment. If you could repeat. Anna-Marie, that is a great observation from your side. The toes are actually very cute when you compare them also to the mothers. It's quite a nice little comparison. I always find that rhino in general, if you look at their feet, they are quite small compared to the bodies. You know, most animals, they tend to be very proportionate, but I always find that rhinos in particular have quite small legs and quite small toes, and especially on this young rhino. Now, if you look at the mother's horn, you can see that she's got two horns in the front, very typical of a white rhino, and black rhino as well. But what you can see is they both have been dehorned, as they're not sharp. They are quite flat. But you can also have a look at the front one, that it's grown to about 16 centimeters, around about there. So it has been, you know, about 2 years, maybe a bit more, since she's been dehorned. And one of the reasons is that we don't tend to dehorn them when they've got such a young calf with them at the time. It's just because it can be quite stressful on the young calf, having the mother, you know, we've got to sedate them first. And the young calves can get quite stressed. So we do tend to wait till they're about a year old. Geese are actually giving the Egyptian geese just gave the rhinos a fright. We are going to sit here and watch the sunset on this gorgeous scene in Phinda.
I'm trying to get one last sighting of the dogs. I think they're this way. I think they've done a complete loop, and Pala are all very alert here. Oh no, Vicky, I could be seeing things. The light is now playing with my eyes. Let me just check something. I'll get my binos out. Oh, well, it's moved. That's a good thing. So if it moved, then I wasn't imagining things. Something's moving. I can't believe that sighting. It was absolutely intense. I really felt for that little Nyala. And now it's going to be cold and separated. But you know, animals are strong. And antelopes are remarkably precocial. They're born so well developed that they can stand, depending on the species, within minutes, within 10 minutes. They can walk and run within the hour normally, especially zebras. And this is so that they can escape predators. So from the get-go, from birth, they can escape. And it just shows all animals can swim. Primates and humans are really the only animals that have to learn. We go to swimming lessons. My mum and dad almost divorced. Well, they actually did divorce because my father threw me in the swimming pool at 6 months old. And after that, I was a bit of a water baby. But we have to learn. I'm not sure we're going to manage to see them again. I'm just guessing where they've gone. They've done a big loop. Wow. But yes, we have to lessons, we have to coordinate the muscles, we have to sort of hand-eye, everything. Motor neurons. But all animals... There you have it. Okay, everyone, the dogs are somewhere, but you know what? It's getting dark anyway. It would get to that time where we probably would leave the dogs anyway. So I'm going to find something beautiful for you to look at for the last few seconds of show. So you're not stuck on the back of my head. Let's go up here and get a nice This is, believe it or not, where we started, and I think the dogs have done a big loop. Okay, BK, work your magic. The beauty of the low veld. And I am rather exhausted, of course. But I do thank you all for jumping on board. It's everyone together that makes it what we do. Your comments, your questions, and us driving around like crazy. So please do join us in the morning. We look forward to seeing you then. Good night.